Hello and welcome to Archival Diaries. I'm your host Reena and I'm thrilled to have you here today. So, today we are going to step into a very familiar place for many of us, that is, office. But instead of giving you a boring list of words, I will take you along with me on a little story. Imagine it's my first day at new office. As we walk through this day together, we will learn some useful office vocabulary that you can use in your professional life. So let's begin. Scene 1, entering the office. It's 9 a.m. and I step into the office building. At the entrance, the receptionist greets me with a smile. She asks me to sign in at the reception desk. Vocabulary here: reception, receptionist, sign in, office building. Then she gives me a visitor badge and tells me to head towards the conference room where the induction is about to start. Scene 2, meeting colleagues. Inside the conference room, I meet my colleagues. A colleague simply means the people you work with. The team leader comes forward, shakes my hand, and introduces me to everyone. He says, "This is your cubicle." Now, a cubicle is a small working space separated by partitions. It is quite common in offices. I sit down, open my laptop, and notice that I already have a few emails waiting in my inbox. Vocabulary here: colleague, team leader, cubicle, laptop, email, inbox. Scene 3, daily work routine. Around 10:30 a.m. we have our first meeting. Meetings are such an important part of office life. The manager shares the agenda, which means the list of things we are going to discuss. During the meeting, someone says, "Let's take a coffee break after this." And trust me, in any office, coffee breaks are not just about coffee, they are about building connections with your colleagues. Vocabulary here: meeting, agenda, manager, coffee break. Scene 4, office tools and tasks. After the break, I return to my desk. On my desk, I see some important documents that need to be printed and filed. I walk to the printer and photocopier, two very common machines in the office. I also notice a notice board where all important announcements are pinned. Vocabulary here: desk, documents, print, file, printer, photocopier, notice board. Scene 5, lunchtime. At 1 p.m., it's lunch break. Some colleagues open their lunch boxes while others head to the cafeteria. I join them and realize that the cafeteria is not just for eating, it's also where people share stories, laugh, and bond. Vocabulary here: lunch break, lunchbox, cafeteria. Scene 6, wrapping up the day. Back at my cubicle, I prepare a small presentation for tomorrow. A presentation usually includes slides that you show on a projector or screen. At 5 p.m., the manager says, "Let's wrap up for the day." Wrapping up means finishing your work. I log out of my screen, pack up my bag, and say goodbye to my colleagues. Vocabulary here: presentation, slides, projector, wrap up, log out, pack up. So that was a simple story of one day in the office. And without realizing it, we have learned so many words: reception, cubicle, agenda, desk, documents, cafeteria, presentation, and many more. See how storytelling makes learning easy. When you put vocabulary into a real life situation, it sticks in your memory much faster. Hello and welcome to Archival Diaries. I'm your host Reena and I'm thrilled to have you here today. So, today we are going to dive into a very practical and useful topic, that is discussing a work schedule. Now, we all know that work schedules are an important part of our daily lives. Whether you're working in an office, freelancing from home, or even managing your household tasks, understanding how to talk about schedules in English can make your communication smoother and more professional. Let me begin with a little story. A few months ago, I got an opportunity to work on a translation project with an international company. On the very first day, the manager asked me, Reena, what does your weekly schedule look like? When are you available for meetings? At that moment, I realized how important it is to explain your work timing clearly in English. I replied confidently, I usually start my work at 9 in the morning and finish by 6 in the evening. I am available for meetings after 11 a.m. and before 5 p.m. on Fridays. I prefer to wrap up early. See how simple yet effective that sounds. When you can describe your schedule in English, you come across as organized and professional. Now, let's go over some useful phrases you can use when discussing your work schedule. I work from Monday to Friday. My working hours are from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. I usually take a lunch break around 1 p.m. On weekends, I prefer to keep my schedule free. I'm flexible in the evenings. Imagine another situation. You have joined a new office and your colleague asks, what is your typical day like? You could say, well, I start my day by checking emails and planning tasks. Then I usually attend meetings in the late morning and I dedicate my afternoon to focused work like writing or translating. Doesn't that sound natural? Now, let's make it more interactive. I want you to think about your own schedule. How would you describe it in English? For example, I wake up at 7 a.m., start work by 9 a.m., take breaks in between, and usually finish by the evening. Try saying it out loud right now as if you are explaining it to a colleague. Another important part of schedules is talking about deadlines. You might say, I need to submit this report by Wednesday. The deadline for this project is next Friday. I can adjust my schedule to meet the deadline. Let's add one more layer negotiating a schedule. Imagine your manager says, can you work late tomorrow? You could politely reply, I'm afraid I already have plans, but I can start early in the morning to complete the task. This shows flexibility and professionalism. Now, let me share another story. Once I had overlapping projects, and one client asked me to finish something urgently. I explained my current schedule is packed this week, but I can deliver by Monday morning. Will that work for you? To my relief, the client agreed. It taught me that being clear about your availability helps avoid stress and miscommunication. So, my dear listeners, the next time you talk about your work schedule, remember these tips. Be clear about your working hours. Mention your availability for meetings. Talk politely about deadlines. Show flexibility when possible. It will not only make you sound confident but also build trust with the people you work with. Before we wrap up, here is quick practice for you. Try saying, I usually start work at and finish at. My busiest day is. I prefer to schedule meetings in the. Practice these sentences, and soon you will feel much more comfortable discussing your work schedule in English. All right, that brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this storytelling session and picked up some practical phrases. Remember, learning English is not just about grammar, it's about using it confidently in real life situations. It sticks in your memory much faster. So that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed walking through this office journey with me. Try using these words in your daily life or even act out your own office day story in English. And remember, the more you practice, the more natural you will sound. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep enjoying the beauty of language. This is Reena signing off.